Hi there, and in the Sex and Abuse series we're on number 29, and I want to speak today about the grooming process. And in video 28, just want to apologise, that one cut off very quickly at the end there, but I thought it was worth uploading that one because there were some important points there. So go back and look at video 28 there. On seduction, because that leads quite nicely into this time that we're going into as far as the grooming process is concerned, because seduction is very much part of the grooming process. So apologies again for that cutting off number 28 at the end, but it's worth having a good look at that one. Very important points there as far as seduction is concerned. Today, I'm going to be focusing on sex abuse and the grooming process. And the grooming process is a type of conditioning that's used. It's a training period, if you will. You might be able to think of your any other names that you might have for it. But to be groomed really is to be prepared for a certain role. And the role, generally in abusive situations, is dependent on the abuser's needs. So that's generally what all the grooming process is about. If anyone sets out to abuse someone, then they're going to groom them in line with their own role, their own agenda, their own needs, in other words. So the person is trained to behave in a certain way so that it falls in line with another person's needs. That's basically what grooming is about. So that it's trying to get the victim to behave in a certain way. And the grooming process is moulded, if you like, based on a grid that's based on conditioning and rewards and punishment. So rewards in various ways are given for good behaviour. Good behaviour being your behaviour that comes in line with the abuser's needs. Punishments are given when you don't come in line. So human beings are conditioned usually in this way. They want to go in the direction where they're going to get good stuff. And they want to stay away from the direction that is going to hurt them. And that's quite sort of a natural reaction in a way. So as far as our safe relationship training is concerned, understanding grooming, understanding that initial seduction phase as well is very important. It's a key tool to have in our safe relationship toolbox, and it's one that we can use, we can practice through identifying a grooming process when we think we're being drawn into one. So as I mentioned in video 28, seduction can be part of the grooming process, and it's important in that initial process to look at what's happening. That's key, to be able to identify what's happening. Identify the setup that's maybe set up for us to fall in line with the abuser somewhere down the line. And so the grooming process will often start straight away, as soon as they meet you. As soon as they meet you, they may be sizing you up to see if you are potential for coming in line with their agenda somewhere down the line, which could include sexual abuse. And in abusive situations, a whole level of sexual, emotional, psychological, spiritual abuse are brought in. They operate synergistically. In other words, that means they support one another. So sexual abuse is part of that dynamic as well, which, depending on the abuser's taste, if you will be brought in potentially somewhere along the line. And that often includes stuff that you really don't want to engage in. And yet you've been groomed for so long that in the end, particularly with a narcissistic abuser, you will be involved in fulfilling the abuser's needs in order to try and make the abuse stop, which it does periodically. because you need to be given little rewards along the way, and some of those rewards are a hiatus in the abuse, so that you are given hope that what you are doing is working to stop the abuser's activities. It's not that it's working, it's that they are conditioning you. They are further embedding you through rewards and punishments. Once you identify that, it's a powerful tool for you to have, because you can use that information, you can use that knowledge to observe what's happening and to not fall in with the plan and the setup, but to be able to gradually over time remove yourself safely in order to protect your growth, in order to protect your life and your health. So it's all about conditioning. It's all about conditioning. Once you realise that, even though you may be able to tolerate things at the moment, and you think you have things under control, it's important to understand that things could escalate, which they generally do in an abusive dynamic. It's important to understand it can get much worse. And so the abuser has a sense of control through the grooming process, has control over the victim, has control over the relationship, and in the end, potentially has control over the soul of the victim, because they've compromised themselves to such an extent. It's almost like handing over your soul, really, to someone to say, here, do what you want with it, really, when we hand over our power in that way. So, just wanted to say those few words today about the grooming process. Do your research, understand what's going on, remain very consciously aware of what's happening, that's key, and then protecting yourself in the situation. And at the end of the day, our safe relationship training is about learning and teaching ourselves how to protect ourselves wisely and in a safe manner. So as always, stay safe and very happy. Bye-bye.